What to do if you have no direction in life. If you feel that way, it's completely okay, understandable. Sometimes we reach points in our lives where we don't know what's next. And this is what that video is going to answer for you. It's going to answer how can you understand what's next and get a good direction. I'm going to walk you through our 4-step framework. It is a proven framework that my mentor has been using for 30 years. He's a very clear direction where he wants to introduce 1 million people to a new way of thinking. So he has a very grand and an ideal direction that he wants to face, and I hope to identify and help you with your direction in life in this video. So, and don't get me wrong, I have been there as well. I've been there without a direction before, and I've needed this help. So this is why I'm sharing this, to kind of be helpful throughout that. For those of you who don't know me really quick, my name is Chris Richardson. I'm a life coach here at Life on Your Terms, and I aim to help people like you who feel directionless or feel lost. So enough of that, let's get into the video. The first point, the first thing you need to look at is to reflect and define. In our framework, this is known as stabilize. It's to understand where you are in your life. So in this instance, it'd be to reflect and define. What are we reflecting and defining? Well, we're gonna recognize that it's okay to feel this. We're gonna understand that, hey, we are in this area. So for you, it'd be like, you know what? I am directionless or I am lost and I don't know what's next. That's okay. It's to first recognize that piece, because then you're gonna start to approach it. Now, the second piece of reflecting and defining is to assess where you are in terms of what you like and what you don't like. So sometimes in direction, what happens is people get to a point where they just feel like they're living the same day over and over and over, and there's nothing different. And that's a piece that they don't like. Well, another piece of their life they like is maybe they live the same day over and over and over again, but they really enjoy going to their kids' events. Okay, well then that's identified what we don't like. We don't like our same routine, so we need to change things up. Maybe that's a different job, maybe it's a whole different career. Maybe it's starting your own business. It's identifying one of those 3 things, but we want to keep the family life the same because we really enjoy going to our kids' games. So identify and write this out, what you like, what you don't like, because then it'll help you what you're going to keep and what you're going to get rid of when you find that new direction. Now, on top of that, you're going to look at your core values. And what I mean is, what do you value in your life? What do you want to work towards? And with this, I'd encourage you to take the balance wheel in the description below, but wait till the end because you're gonna wanna listen to all 4 of these steps. But in the balance wheel, we're gonna go over professional, we're gonna go over relationships, we're gonna go over resources, and we're gonna go over health. Each of those has 3 subcategories. So what you could do is you can go through and you can be like, okay, in professional, I like my job environment, but I don't like how much I'm getting paid because I want to do X, Y, or Z. Well, okay, that gives you an answer of where you want to improve on. Or maybe we can jump over to resources. I don't like how I manage my time, but I like the amount of treasure I have, which I think of as like saved income, not income you're actively earning, but income that's you have a treasure on. So it's like, I don't like my time, but I don't like what I'm earning. So it's like core values in your life of, okay, I want to get better time management so I can do X, Y, or Z. So what do you value? That's what the balance wheel will highlight for you. Now, on top of that is, what are you interested in? Because maybe it's time to dive into something you're a little more interested in. Maybe you've reached a certain level in your career where you feel very satisfied, but you want to go do something a little bit different. You want to teach people how to paint. I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, identifying that can be helpful once we're looking at that direction. Now, another piece in reflecting and defining is look what has brought you joy in the past. There have certainly been things throughout your life that have made you excited and joyful, and not that you should always optimize for joy. At least I don't always optimize for joy. I optimize what is making the most out of my life, but I do look at times and I like being joyful. So I always optimize, okay, what am I doing to make the most out of my life? And how have I done that in the past? And what's brought me joy in the past? So asking yourself that question can help you find your new direction. So that is reflecting and defining. And another piece related to reflecting and defining is maybe you've been chasing the outcome. Sometimes people feel like they have no direction or they feel lost because they've been chasing this thing that feels so far out, but you're chasing the outcome. We want to shift that to the process. I have a sticky note right there. This is the work is the goal. And I get that from Alex Hormozy, and I love that saying because it really helps me focus on that is the only thing that matters. The quality and quantity of my work is the only thing that matters. So understanding where is your outcome and what are you pursuing? What are you optimizing for? So that's reflecting and defining and stabilize. And the second step of our framework is what interests you and what do you want? What do you want to drive towards? This is visualization. So what does amazing you look like 12 months from now? When I say this, what characteristics do you have? What are you doing? What actions are you taking? How does your life look? Maybe you're struggling to define this. So what I would encourage you to do, write down, what does amazing look like? What does amazing me look like 12 months from now, 5 years from now? If you're struggling with this, think about these 4 situations. If you had unlimited money, someone came to you, hey, you got a big lottery check, what would you buy? What would you do? If you had unlimited time, but with the unlimited time, you had to be working on something you enjoy. So let's say money, you're not really worried about money, but you have to be working on something you love. What would you be doing? You have a 3-year expiration date. Doctor comes to you, say, hey, you're gonna be healthy, but you're gonna die in 3 years and a day. What would you be doing? What would you be doing to make the most out of every day of your life? The 4th situation is you're at your 100th birthday, and everybody's talking about all your achievements and the legacy you've left. What are some of the things you're hearing, and what kind of person were you known as? So looking at those 4 situations, I'd encourage you to rank what you came up with, because that can help you nail down the direction. Maybe it's you decide that you want your 100th year legacy, and people are talking about how hard of a worker you were and the impact you made on people's lives. And you optimize for that within your life, and that's what amazing you looks like 5 years from now. So understanding that can help you visualize your next direction. Now, once we visualize, once we stabilize, it's time to put the strategy. It's time to understand, what do we need to get there? What do we need to do to get there? And that's where we're gonna look at, what is your input output to get there? So if you wanted legacy and achievements, it would be understanding what are the things needed to get that legacy and those achievements. So for me, I want to be a coach. I want to make that my full-time job. So right now, my input and output, my input is lead generation strategy, and my output is more clients, which will then result in more money and more capital for me to become a coach. That kind of makes sense? You want to understand, what is your input? What do you need? What actions do you need to take to optimize for the output that you would like? But you need to understand that you're focused on the input only, really. The output is great, and it's what you're optimizing for, and you understand that if I do these inputs, I predict that this output will happen, and sometimes you've got to modify those things, but you're focused on the input, you're focused on the work. And then once you understand your input-output equation, to be able to get to that direction, you need to look at your one and dones. What are things that you can do like that to be able to move forward? So if it's starting a business, it's getting that license. It's then getting maybe your advisors. It's understanding what are your one and dones to help you be successful. That's part of strategy as well. On top of strategy, look at your goals. I'd encourage you to set daily, weekly, quarterly, and yearly goals. I have a bullet journal where I set daily goals. I also have sticky notes that I like to cross off, and it kind of shows my day. I have my weekly goals, the amount of hours I want to work. I have my quarterly goals, which are kind of comprised of all the areas of the balance wheel, and I have my yearly visualizations and goals as well that again fall the balance wheel. So that can be very helpful, and for me, it's all related to work. It's all related to my actions. It's not about an outcome that I have, this level of friendship, or I have this amount of money, or I've lost this much weight or gained this much weight. It's about the work, and that's what I focus all my goals on, and then I make predictions related to. So, for example, working 20 hours outside of my day job, my prediction is that'll get me, that much closer to being a coach, or whatever it is. So those are some examples for goals. And understand also with this strategy and with this direction that starting is going to be the hardest part. But once you get started, you'll be so incredibly proud of yourself, and you should be. Now, the 4th piece, and arguably the most important, is to execute upon the goals and the actions that you just set out in your strategy. You've reflected and defined what is kind of maybe an ideal direction. You visualize what does that direction look like, what does amazing look like in terms of you and what you're doing. You've set up a strategy of this is what I need to get done. Now it's time to take action. Time to take action on all those 3 prior steps. And with that, you need to ask yourself, how will you stay motivated? For me, it's thinking about what would my future self do? What would future Chris do? Future Chris would be doing these actions. And then I like to live in line with that. It helps me stay motivated. On top of that, I have this new little thing I started, my hour leaderboard. I want to work a certain amount of hours in a week. So what I do is on my notes app, I track my top 5 weeks. And I always try to get a little bit higher on that leaderboard myself. I'm just competing with myself. And that helps me stay motivated as well. My sticky notes help as well. When I'm able to look at what I've done for a day, cross that off, I feel really good about it. That helps me be motivated. So for you need to identify what are some things that help you stay motivated, and then apply those to yourself. Now, on top of that, the one final thing you need to worry about in execution is what barriers will stand in your way. What things will try to prevent you from being successful, because there are things out there that will try. And you need to understand what barriers will stand in your way, identify those barriers, and look at them preemptively instead of reactively once they happen. So that's what to do if you have no direction in your life. If you're still watching, take the balance wheel in the description below. And then also if you hit that like and subscribe button, it helps so much. Thank you.